Okay, my name is Delta Lou. Today we're going to be discussing Son House's Louise McGhee Blues. And before we kick off, I want to talk about tools that you need to get started. Basically, you need, any guitar can work for this matter. Son House like to play resonator guitars. But for this purpose, any guitar can work. Acoustic is fine. This is a very unique piece in that it's not in the slide tunings that he's famous for. It's in standard tuning, so just regular tuning, except that it's tuned 2 steps down from E standard. So he's really playing it in D standard tuning. Okay, I always like to have a capo with me to adjust to any key changes when you listen to the LP and are studying this music. Always helps. Electric tuner is good. I like to utilize plastic finger picks. I think that they ease the wear on the guitar and the strings, and some more. The fingers are more. They absorb the strings better, and it's something that I like to use. Louise McGhee is from the 1965 Sessions recordings, and it's a very typical Delta style composition in E standard. And other similar pieces are Willie Brown's Ragged and Dirty. Charlie Patton has played compositions that have a similar structure. Now this is based out of the key of E. You're going to be using key of E shapes, the presence of the E chord, the A chord, and the B7 chord, as well as the C sharp 7, make their way into the song. There's also a heavy presence of diminished chords that make up the turnarounds. This is something you're going to be expecting to see throughout the composition of the song. First and foremost, the song is in D standard tuning, meaning that I've down-tuned my guitar 2 steps down from E. Let's take this moment to tune up to each other, or if you have an electric tuner, please adjust accordingly. This is my top low 6th string. This will be a D. This is my D. This is my G. This is my F. Oh, I'm sorry, C. This is C, the 4th string. This is my F. This is the 3rd string. This is my 2nd string. This is my A. And this is my bottom string. This is my D. Let's play a D chord. Now let's play an E. Okay, so we're tuned together and we'll get started. And let's start the introduction. Okay, the introduction is fairly simple, and it's also a technique that he uses throughout the entire song. Now, I like to utilize, for my right hand, I like to utilize dead thumb Delta style picking, meaning that your thumb is going to be stationary over the corresponding bass note, either E or A, And in this instance, if you're going to be playing licks in E, you're going to have your top thumb string hovering above the top string. Now I like to play delta rhythms, meaning that you produce a pinching motion. Notice how the motion of my right hand, I'm pinching together. This is a technique that I like to use in this style of music. Though in this song there's a lot of freedom to play in any way you feel comfortable, but it's always nice to play in the dead thumb style, the delta style. Now that was my little piece on right hand techniques. You'll be doing a lot of pinching and a lot of navigating with your index finger on the right hand. Since there's no slide in this particular piece, the rest is very simple. You're going to be playing, familiar chordings in what would be the key of E chord shapes. Okay, and let's get started on the introduction. The introduction is I have it available for you on the tablature as well. Very simple, and it's a diminished turnaround that he utilizes throughout the entire song, through placement. And what I mean by that is that he plays this E diminished turnaround, which starts on the 3rd and 4th fret. So you'll be fingering like a D7 shape, like you normally would, except that you're going to be going 2 frets forward, so that your index finger is going to be on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, your middle finger is going to be on the 3rd string, 4th fret, and your ring finger is going to be on the bottom string, 4th fret. So you'll have a shape that looks like this, really like a D7 but 2 frets forward. That's an E diminished, and with your thumb you can play the top string to give you a bass accompaniment note. Okay, and a nice way to play that is that you slide from the 2nd and 3rd fret, and you slide into that 3rd and 4th fret, and that's how it kicks off the introduction. I woke up this morning, got the blues all night long. Okay, that's a very typical blues arrangement. Okay, and now that we've got that under control, we're going to cover the rest of the turnaround. And in this introductory piece, it's basically a very slow motion turnaround of diminished chords. So he begins in the 3rd and 4th fret. Okay, and notice how he makes his way chromatically up the neck. So he starts there, then the 2nd and 3rd fret, maintaining the same fingering. Then on the 1st and 2nd fret, and then he just ends on, instead of playing this shape, that last tone is just going to be your index finger on the 3rd string, 1st fret, and you're going to be playing the bottom 3 strings together. So it's like an E chord without the 2 fingers here, and just the index finger. So the introduction is very, very simple. It's this diminished chord, and he slides into there starting from the 2nd and 3rd fret, and he just starts off on the 3rd and 4th fret, and he stays there for a little bit. So this introduction is like, you know, it's a fairly simple concept. You just got to follow along with the CD, and he likes to just do the chromatic runaround. So obviously it kind of goes diminished. It's 1, 2, 3. So it's more about the combination. I'm going to play the first part of that from the actual CD so that you can match along where he's going with it on the diminished sense. So let's stay tuned here. Okay, right now this portion we're going to play along with the actual CD. So here we go. Okay, so fairly simple. So it's more like very easy. Follow along with the CD. So he, off the bat in that introduction, he goes dun, 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 dun. Notice what I'm doing with my thumb, keeping the and then when he plays that, he ends on an E chord. A soft strum. Now I'm not going to spend too much time in the introduction there. That is something that reappears throughout the course of the song. So it's very crucial, pivotal, to get it down very easily and time it with some house. Fairly simple. No need to discuss that really further. Now we're going to talk about the very characteristic, the signature lick that he utilizes on the 7th and 8th fret. And this is the piece that I'm referring to. It goes like this. Okay. Very common lick used in this compositions that are in the E chord in Delta blues music. And what he's doing here is at the end of that introduction, he's in an E chord. Then he kicks off this very peculiar sliding bass arrangement. And that's laid out for you on the tablature so you can follow along. But what he does is he positions his index finger on the 2nd fret, 5th string. Okay. And he plays it. He plays that note. And he slides all the way to the 7th fret from the 2nd fret. So you play this. And right before you get to the 7th fret, you play an open D string on the top. So right when you get to between the 6th and 7th fret, and you play 2 notes. Very easy. It's laid out for you in the tablature. And right after you play that top string, you let it ring, and this is where the signature lick comes in. There's going to be 6 notes here. 6 notes that make up this lick. And in the first the portion of it, this is how you're going to finger it. What ultimately you're going to be in the 7th, 8th, and 9th fret only. The lick starts with your index finger placed on the 7th fret bottom string, your middle finger on the 2nd string 8th fret, and then your thumb is going to come down here and hover above, you know, the bottom string note. Your thumb is going to play just above that other note, and you're going to produce a pinching motion. So that the first 2 notes of that are positioned on the 7th and 8th fret, like this. 1, 2, and then okay, and then what you want to do is the second set of 2 notes are going to be on the 2nd string, 8th fret, and then the 3rd string on the 9th fret. And then you're going to move up your hand and you're going to pinch those 2 together. Sounds like this. Okay. And there's several ways to play it. I don't really play it all in one same way. It's whatever is comfortable for you. A nice thing to do is, you know, with your free ring finger, you can position it and place it on the 9th fret 3rd string when needed. That's one way to do it, or you can just go back and forth with your 2 fingers. So always keep the ring finger free to play on that 9th fret. So the first 2 notes are 1, 2, only on the 7th and 8th fret. Then the next 2 notes are on the 8th and 9th fret with just the 2nd and 3rd strings being played. The 2nd and 3rd strings, I've got my 3 fingers fingered on that, but I'm not really playing the bottom string. I'm just picking out the individual notes to be played at the same time to make up that lick. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first 2 notes are on the 7th and 8th fret with this fingering. 1, 2, and then with your free ring finger, you play the 2nd and 3rd strings on the 8th and 9th fret. And those are the first 4 notes. And the last 2 notes of this 6-note series are one of each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 of the same, 2 of the same, and 1 of each make up this lick. So altogether it'll be like. And the fingering is something that you have to explore with and see what you're more comfortable with. There's no really correct way to finger it, and what fingers need to be positioned where. It's how you want to approach it. I play with all my 3 fingers, you know, hovering and fingering that particular succession of notes, and then I just, with my thumb placement, to pick out those individual notes. So let's start that lick slow this time, starting from that sliding bass note. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's also laid out for you in the tablature. It's a very simple lick that once again reoccurs throughout the majority of the song. So we've got the introduction down and the characteristic lick, and let's start it from the beginning. We are right now in the structure of E, so everything we're playing is corresponding with the E chord, 1 chord in this blues piece. So from the beginning of the whole song, we start off. 4 times. You play that lick 4 times. That makes up the introduction and the characteristic lick of the song. Next portion, we're going to go into the specifics of the A chord and the licks that happen there. So we'll take a break. Okay, moving on in the song, we're going to cover the licks that happen within the A chord, the structure of the A chord segment of the song. And it happens after he plays this characteristic lick. Cover that portion here shortly. So after he plays this lick, he kicks off this segment in A by playing the corresponding bass note. Now, I like to play the top 2 strings, the 2 notes that go like this. And then I make my lick in A. Sunhouse, I don't know if he uses the top string. He might just play a single note on the A string, the 5th string. So either way you want to do it. I like to do it like this. I like to play it with pressing, leading into it with the top 2 strings. But I like, some houses does it like this. Either way you want to do it. It's very pivotal as you announce yourself in this segment in A. So after he plays this introductionary note, you let the A string resonate, ring, and you're going to construct a lick that starts on the 2nd string. You're going to play open 2nd string, and you're going to do like a pull off on the 1st and 2nd fret on the 2nd string. It's going to be like a chromatic rundown. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and it's going to sound like this. It's a pull off. So you play an open and you finger the 1st fret, 2nd string, and slide to the 2nd fret, 2nd string without really plucking any strings. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then you play an open bottom string. So the lick happens kind of fast. You play the note, and almost when you pull off on the 2nd fret, you immediately play the bottom string right after that. So it's I'm in the 2nd fret, and then immediately you play the bottom string. And in this particular sequence, you want to play the bottom string and the 2nd string, and even the 3rd string. Even when you're not fingering a chord, just playing one note, he likes to play all 3 of them, so it's got this like kind of incompleteness to it. So it's like, okay. So I recommend playing the bottom 3 strings, even when you're just fingering one note. Okay, so you pull off, and you want to finger the 2nd string on the 2nd fret is going to stay there, and you're going to be fingering it, and you're going to be doing all the action with your right hand. Okay, so you're going to be playing like an incomplete A chord. With your free finger, you're going to incorporate on the bottom string, 3rd fret, this blues note. the 7th. And a very easy sequence there. So coming from that lick, it's okay. So when you have this fingered, 3rd fret bottom string, he goes back and forth. He plays it numerous times or just once. So you play that and then an open on the bottom string. Okay, you play the open and then almost like an E chord. So off the bat it goes like this. So after you play this, you play an open string on the bottom string and then an E chord. And that caps that off. You're going to be out of the A segment there. So once again, what's pivotal is the introductionary bass sequence, then the pull off, then playing the A chord here, this incomplete A chord. Then you play the 3rd fret bottom string. You play it again. Then open. And then E chord. And that makes up that segment in A. And when he plays this E chord, he does a bass lick. Sounds like this. Okay. And what he's doing there is that he plays 4 notes in the bass. And it's like a bass turnaround that starts on the 4th string, 2nd fret. He's playing the E note here. So it's E, then an open on the 4th string, yeah. Then you go up to the 5th string, 2nd fret, you're playing the B, then open on the 5th string. So it's E chord, and after that he plucks the 3rd fret bottom string, he bends it, and then plays an open on the bottom string, and then an E chord to follow that. So that sequence goes like this. So I'll go slow this time. So after you play this open, you play the bass note, the top string. Now that's laid out for you on the tablature for you to follow. Fairly simple. So that whole segment in A goes like this. Go over the final turnaround situation, and then it will go back to coda, and he will repeat the same verses over and over again. Okay, now we're gonna cover the kind of the final portion of the song, and it's gonna be kind of the outro, the final outroduction, before he goes back to the coda. And It follows after he plays that unique bass lick. So after that E chord sequence, he goes back to something that's similar to that introductionary diminished roll, except I believe that he's doing what we call in the blues world the St. Louis turnaround, and is basically you would finger a B7 chord, eliminate the index finger, so it's just you're playing this shape over the 2nd fret. Now just do that and all over the 4th fret. So really you have your middle finger on the 5th string on the 4th fret, your ring finger is on the 3rd string on the 4th fret, and your pinky is on the bottom string on the 4th fret. And you're going to play a chord that sounds like this. So it's like a C sharp. Okay. And he also does the turnaround with this chord shape. So it's like 1, and then over the 3rd fret, maintaining the same chording. 2nd fret. And then that lone note on the to play the E chord. So in that introduction, it's like, so please, baby, please, won't you write? That's an alternative ending for you. So much like in the fashion of the diminished chords, he starts his accent on the 3rd fret, and he slides into the 4th fret like this. Okay, same premises that happens with the diminished chord. Now that is an optional thing that you can use. It seems like he's playing that. It might not be the case. He might be sticking with the same sequence that we covered with the diminished chords. Okay, and that represents the introduction. It's very simple, and that's something to follow along with the CD. Now I'm going to play the remaining portion of the song when he gets to that version, so that we can better follow with my chordings, my fingerings. So let's play that.
Louise McGhee, please do me a favor and say one line for me. I said you see the good. One line, Louise.
Here it goes. Okay, so let's stop there. Once again, that introduction is much in the same fashion as the introduction, but he likes to play that kind of St. Louis style chords. And then he kicks off the song with that lick again to start off the sequence. This morning with Louise McGhee. And then the whole song repeats itself. There's really nothing else that he plays that's necessarily different. There is an alternative variation, however. Earlier I discussed there's a portion of the song where he uses this bass note. portion, he uses this other portion alternatively. In the space of that segment, he also does this. So it happens after the sequence in A. So instead of doing this, he just goes right back to that diminished introduction. Okay. Now, that's the only alternative kind of placing that he uses in the song. Let's listen to the rest of the song and I'll discuss changes in the routine. Once again, the characteristic lick. Here it goes. Notice that. Notice how that worked. Instead of doing this, he just went straight to that diminished turnaround and it went like this. Very simple. So let's continue with the song. Well, I think for the majority of this song, it's a 6-minute long song, and it's about placement of those particular licks that we went over. And once again, it's all, there's a lot of freedom for you to not really play it exactly note for note the way Son House plays it, just as long as you're using the techniques and the particular, the segments, the chordings in placement. So if you don't want to do the St. Louis turnaround, you can stick with the diminished turnaround. You don't like the bass note, instead you can just play the diminished. It's a very easy song to play. I don't feel that you'll have much trouble with it. Whatever left over is available to you on the tablature so that you can follow along with the DVD as well. It's imperative that you listen along with Son House so that you can get a feel and play along with him to see how comfortable you are with grasping the material. And other than that, I don't have any further criticism of the song or any tips. For the most part, he repeats and recycles the same, playing through each and every verse. So it's very redundant. There's no solo breaks. There's nothing different, much else different in the song. So you should be good with just repeating over things that we covered in the song. So my name is Delta Lou, and this is going to cap our tutorial of Louise McGhee of Son House's 1965 sessions. So I'm going to take it away.